This is Curious George and the Rocket by H.A. Rey, 1950 something, I think. It's a story of Curious George getting a letter. Professor has a problem with his rocket. It is too small for a person, and so they have to get Curious George to fly in it instead. They get him a spacesuit. The scientists come and pick him up in a truck. There's a countdown. There's the rocket ship. And then blast off. Now, at this point, I thought the book was a pretty good coverage of what actually happened in the 40s. But at this point, it ceased to be true. So what I've done is I've made an insert that goes over the last 4 pages or so. That instead of describing his successful landing back home after his flight, describes the tale of Albert II, which is actually the real Curious George, the first monkey in space, which was a rhesus monkey that launched on board a V-2 rocket in 1949, and was the first monkey to cross the Kármán line, 100 kilometers above the planet's surface. And that's where space begins. Albert II followed Albert I, which was another rhesus monkey who died before the thing actually took off. He asphyxiated. And then he was followed by Albert III, who died, and Albert IV, who also died. So I thought it was, kind of a nice tribute to put an insert over this book that describes, there's the launch right there of his rocket. 20 years before the moon landing. We've just transformed, by covering the last 4 pages of this book, a fiction into actually a true story, because the first 3/4 of it were actually a pretty good representation of how it happened.